Okay, looks like most of you are ready to start reviewing this. So I'll read off the question, let me know what your answer is. A form on which one lists the names and quantities of all menu items that are to be prepared for a given date is called the production sheet. Quantity of any item required to meet anticipated needs in some specific upcoming period. Pardon me? Car stock, it's one of those things that has more than one definition. Number 3, this test is used to determine standard portion costs for those items portioned before cooking. Butcher's test. The dollar amount remaining after variable costs have been subtracted from the sales dollar is called not profit. That's your contribution margin. It's going to go towards your fixed costs plus your profit. This test is used to determine standard portion costs for those meat items that are portioned after cooking. Cooking loss test. Okay, what is the sales level required to earn a profit of 100,000 when your fixed costs are 750,000? Your contribution rate is 0.425. Sales required is equal to the sum of fixed cost and profit divided by the contribution rate. Okay, so $2 million is the correct answer. I'll use this opportunity to remind you, you can have a cheat sheet that has all your formulas on it. It can be one sheet of paper, front and back. One 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. It can be typed. I would probably type it, and then that way you can add to it and print it as you need it. So number 7. Today is October 11th. The restaurant food cost percent to date for October will be what compared to our food cost percent today? Need more information because we have no way of knowing. Oops. Where is that question? Oh, that's nice. Okay. There it is. Okay. So, okay, you did not have this question, but it was supposed to be on there. So today is October 11th. Our food cost to date for October will be. We need more information. So how did you know the answer to that? Somebody said it. What number is it? Well, mine says, okay, never mind. Okay, this is the one you don't have. Yes, you need to know that. I can't hear you. Okay, so we're asking about, you're asking the answer to this one, and it's you need more information because you would need to know your, shoot. For your food cost percent today, okay, you'll know what that number is, but your food cost percent to date, it could be higher, it could be lower. You're going to need to see all of the information. It's not going to be consistently higher or lower when you look at it, when you look at all the days in the month up to today, and then today's individual. Yes. Should be 750 plus 100,000 is 850,000 divided by 0.425. I have 850,000 divided by 0.425. Okay, the first two numbers are in parentheses. So you have to add those together first. Then you divide by the 0.425. Pardon? I mean, that's not the formula is written. It's fixed cost plus profit added together divided by contribution rate. Okay, so we're going to go to number 8. Transfers of food and beverages between units in a change are called inter units. This one? Okay, so this one is not on your paper? Okay. This doesn't give you a whole lot to think about. Okay, so why isn't it letter B? Okay, this is multiplying them. So what is the proper formula using those 3 variables? Like if you had food cost percent and food cost, okay, so if you're calculating the sales price, you would take your food cost and divide it by your food cost percent. You wouldn't multiply them together. Okay, this is wrong because it's just wrong. Food, beverage, and labor, you have to include your overhead costs and your profit in order to calculate total sales. And then profit divided by the difference between the food cost percent and the beverage cost percent. Again, that food cost percent minus beverage cost percent doesn't give you any kind of a usable number because they're based on totally different things. But sales is equal to your prime cost plus your overhead plus profit. Okay, transfers, we did that. Y'all got number 7? So we have a recipe detail, cost card. So this is what I got, $17.80, $6.15. Pardon me? This is on the answer. This is what you have. Okay. All right. Hopefully it's price for everybody then. Okay, so we have this so far. $1.64 for the edit claim. $9 for the butter. You got what? Milliliters are milliliters. So it's, this is what I'm going to do. It's 250. So that's all that it is. It's like 1/3 of the bottle. Right. With a total of $49.99. So it's 250 milliliters times $12 divided by 750 milliliters in a bottle. So it yields 10 servings. So it's gonna come up with a serving cost of $5. When we do the food cost percentage, divide the $5 by the $14.95. It's not 33 cents. 33.4%. So that took us a little while to get there, but that's so okay, so you didn't have the rest of these questions on here. I've been done. Yep. You do. Okay. Now I think I know what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So inventory turnover is calculated by dividing food cost by average inventory. Okay. Calculate inventory turnover. So we're going to get the average of these two numbers, which is 77.50, and divide our food cost by that. That's another dollar amount. Okay. Did you get 2.32? Pardon me? I just highlighted it on here, but you would add them together and divide by 2. Excel tells you down at the bottom that's the average piece. Okay, bread costs $1.98 per loaf. Each loaf has 30 usable slices. How much does a serving of 3 slices cost? I'm gonna have to. So $1.98 divided by 30. Oops. So your rounding may be a little bit different than what it shows up. It shows 7 cents per slice. And if you multiply it by 3, you'll get 20 or 21 cents. Yes. Yeah, you have to get the average. That's why this question is up here. Okay, so our final answer on the loaf is either 20 or 21 cents. Pardon me? I have here, I'm calculating the cost of a slice. So I'm taking $1.98 and dividing it by 30 slices. That's going to tell me what one slice costs. And that came out to like 6.6 cents. But it's showing it, pardon me? Right, so this is showing it rounded up to 2 decimal points, but it's storing it as 0.66 or 0.066. So when I multiply it by 3, I'm getting 20 cents. But if you multiply 7 by 3, you get 21 cents. I will take either answer. Okay. That's what it would come out to, but since we're looking for dollars and cents, we rounded to 2 decimal points. Okay, the yield percentage of a rib roast weighing 16 pounds is purchased if we yield 15 portions weighing 12 ounces each. So this is our ounces. So our purchase amount is 16 times 16, 16 pounds, it's 16 ounces in a pound. That's 256 ounces. And so the yield percentage is going to be the 180 divided by the 256. Pardon? Yeah, to get the percentage. So 70.3% is the answer on the yield. So when I get back to my office, I'm going to make sure that all of the answers are in this one sheet, and I'll show you how each one is done. Okay, the 4 steps in the control process. Establish standards and standard procedures, train your employees, monitor the performance, and take corrective action. All right, so next question is using the butcher's test card. And all we're being asked is to calculate the new cost per pound and the new cost per portion. So that is, we take our new price per pound, $8.50, compared it to the $7.50. So it's $8.50 times the cost factor per pound. And that comes to $19.58. And then for the portion, we're just going to use the cost factor per portion. Multiply that by the 850. Then we get $7.34. Okay, so then the last thing we have is the menu engineering worksheet. I'm sorry. Okay, this is correct, right? The last thing that we have. Okay, so need you to fill out the last 3 columns. I'm going to go highlight the contribution margin category first. That is comparing the average contribution margin to the item contribution margin. So if it's higher than 10, or I'm sorry, if it's lower than 1083, it's an L. If it's equal to or higher, it's an H. So we have HHL, HHLL, HHLHL. Does that match what you have? And for the menu mix, we're comparing it to the number in box Q here, 5.8%. And the menu mix that we have over here, so if it's lower than 5.8%, it's going to be an L. And it looks like we have just the two that are lower. And then the classification. H and an H is going to be a star. L and an H is a what? Plow horse. H and an L. And then the L and the L. Okay. So should have star, star, plow horse, star, star, plow horse, star, star, dog, puzzle, plow horse. So, any questions on this? Okay, so questions about module 4 quizzes. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things here. The required text is free and it's available through Moodle, so don't be afraid to do that. You can open it up really quickly and easily. You can even search within the book. So if you're looking for a definition or something or a formula, you can find it in there. So is it the Excel quiz? You're going to start there. All right, so we went over this in class. Were there any issues with this one? I'm just going to go ahead and click. Okay. 9.2 is referring back to 9.1. Realize I probably could put that in there. So we're looking at the cost of sales, or the sales and food cost and cost percent for October 3rd. So that's for the day. So sales for October 3rd. Okay, 3,100. Food cost. Be 1,050. And then the cost percent, you can either calculate it here or pull it off of the sheet. It's going to be the food cost divided by the food sales. 33.9. Yes. I don't think so. I think I just lectured on it. Okay, so we're looking at each day of the week. October 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. When we start with the Monday, These are the directs, these are the stores. There were no transfers between food and beverage and food. So that adds up to $850 in cost. That's today's cost. And it's also the to-date cost, because we're looking at all of these days. We are given the sales figures. So 2,900 is the sales for today and also the sales to date. So when we calculate food cost percent, we're taking the food cost for today and dividing it by the sales for today to get to 29.3%. And then when we do for to date, it just happens to be the same numbers on the first page. Go down to the second line. So now we have, these are the figures for today. So we add the directs and the stores together. Beverage to food gets added in, and then food to beverage gets subtracted out. So that gives us our total of $940 of food cost for today. And then this box here, just to date added to today. So it's the 850 plus the 940 gives us 1790. This like total cost to date, it keeps increasing because we're adding in each individual day as we go. Same thing with sales. And then your food cost percent, you have to calculate it using the to date numbers for this column and the today numbers. Anybody else have questions on that? And then so the week to date, we'll just go back over and look at the to date columns. One, I mean, this is just a matter of counting. $10.2. So our total cost, this is just like a menu engineering worksheet. It's the number forecast times the food cost. And then the total sales is going to be the sales price times the food cost. So you're just going to do that the whole way down. And there's an automatic formula in here to total it up. So this is forecast sales. This side is actual sales. So some of these numbers are different than what they were over here. Now we want to know the forecast food cost percent and the actual food cost percent. So this is our cost, this is our sales. I'm just going to divide the food cost by the food sales. And comes up to 34.2. And so for the actual, you just do the same thing, and then you'll calculate the food cost percentage based on the actual. This is the potential savings sheet. I know that we did this in class. I can't remember if I did it at home or not. Did you get a handout on this? You did. Okay. So there are questions on 10.3? 11.1, And 11.2 are the menu engineering worksheets. Are there any questions on those? Okay, do we need to start to look at the quiz as well? Yes. Pardon me? I'm sorry, I can't hear it all. Which chart? Studies for it based off of the what we did today in the review. Okay, this question I would just go to the book and look that up. Same thing here. Okay, if the actual cost for today was $550, calculate potential savings as a dollar amount and as a percentage of sales. So this, we have our standard cost. I'm sorry. This is our standard cost proportion. So then this is the total standard cost. These are our sales. So you have to add your costs, add your sales, calculate your food cost percentage, and then compare that to the food cost percentage from your actual sales, which is totaling these sales and dividing that into the 550. And I know we did a potential savings thing. That was the it was a big longer thing. The one that I just asked you, I gave you a handout on it, and it's like you had to calculate the total of your cost and sales, and then you had the chart that said actual sales, food cost, and then the forecast, and you looked at the difference between those two. So this is just presented in a little bit different format. Okay, all of these I would look in the book. Closing inventory for May is this. So we want to figure out what the book value of stores inventory is on the morning of June 1st. So we're going to add this, add the purchases, subtract off the issues, which is what goes to the kitchen, and then you'll get a balance for the morning of June 4th. Menu engineering worksheet. That's one. I think it's pretty straightforward. This measures the range of items on a menu. So again, you can look at the look it up in the book. Menu differentiation is talking about how your menu is different from your competitors. Menu diversity is talking about how diverse your menu is. So Brady & Cane's has not a very diverse menu, but if you go to Flanagan's, they have a diverse menu. We know what sales mix is, and we know what portion sizes are. So I mean, what the range of items is talking about how many items they have and how different they are. So menu diversity is where I go here. This is in the book. We talked about it class. Okay. Undesirably high food cost percentage may be due to that would be what I would answer. Usually actual costs today and to date are greater than, less than, not related to, equal to. That's what we just went through in that Excel exercise when we were looking at the calculating the cost today compared to date. Pardon me? It would be, they're not related. Yes. The test says what? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm misreading the question. Sorry. Actual cost today and date. I'm sorry. It's comparing actual cost to standard cost. Okay, your standard costs are your ideal in the perfect world. And your actual costs, unless you are under portioning, are going to be higher than your standard cost. So that's, I'm sorry, I answered that incorrectly. This is greater than, your actual cost is typically greater than your standard cost. And the only way you can meet your standard cost is to be 100% perfect every day, or you're making a mistake by not including all of the ingredients or all of the proper portions. Which of the following actions result in favorable or unfavorable variance from actual cost and standard cost? So anything that is waste is unfavorable. And this is just like what we were talking about. So if you drop a plate of food, that's waste. It's going to raise your costs because you now have double your food cost for that item. Serving 8-ounce steaks instead of 12-ounce steaks is going to lower your cost. Using disposable gloves when required. This would be a neither. You have to do that. Serving lobster instead of codfish on the buffet. That's going to raise your food cost. Serving 12-ounce steaks instead of 8-ounce steaks. It's also going to be raising the food cost. Okay, to be competitive, most restaurants find it necessary to have on the menu. And I know what the answer to this is, but I went to look it up in the book and I typed in the word competitive, which shows up less than 10 times in the book. And if you look at the chapters that we're going over, the words are right in there for this. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. 5. Okay, we're taking the opening inventory, which is the closing inventory for May. It's the opening inventory for June. We're adding our purchases, this first column, and we're subtracting the issues, because the issues is what goes from the storage area to the kitchen. So it looks like our issues are consistently higher than our purchases, so I would look for an answer that's lower than what we start with. Any other questions? Okay, so we'll have the exam in here on Thursday.